Art has the power to transcend time, to speak to generations long after the artist's hands have put down the tools. Among the greatest of these masters, one man stands out as a genius who not only shaped the Renaissance, but whose work continues to define the essence of human creativity and expression. A man whose sculptures and paintings push the boundaries of human achievement, Michelangelo Buonarroti, a name that is synonymous with artistic mastery. His work is recognized worldwide for its technical precision, emotional depth, and timeless beauty. But behind each iconic piece is a man driven by perfection, tireless in his pursuit of excellence. This is the story of Michelangelo, the master sculptor of the Renaissance, an artist who transformed stone into life, whose brush strokes brought the heavens to earth, and whose enduring legacy continues to inspire. Michelangelo di Lodovico Buonarroti Simoni was born on March 6, 1475, in the small village of Caprese, in the Republic of Florence, an area that was fertile ground for the birth of Renaissance ideas. Even as a child, Michelangelo's talents were clear. Unlike other children, he was obsessed with drawing, and his artistic potential quickly became evident. But young Michelangelo's life wasn't without hardship. His mother died when he was just 6 years old, and he was sent to live with a stonecutter's family in Settignano, a small village known for its marble quarries. It was here, surrounded by marble and stone, that Michelangelo's love for sculpture began to bloom. He often said, "With my first breath, I inhaled marble dust." By the time Michelangelo was 13, his father recognized his son's unique talent and sent him to apprentice under the great Florentine painter, Domenico Ghirlandaio. It was unusual for a boy of such noble birth to take on an artistic apprenticeship, but Michelangelo was anything but ordinary. Under Ghirlandaio, Michelangelo honed his skills, learning the techniques of fresco painting and sketching, but his heart was always with sculpture. Despite Ghirlandaio's influence, Michelangelo's ambitions led him beyond the studio. Soon, he caught the attention of one of the most powerful families in Florence, the Medici. At the age of 15, Michelangelo was taken under the wing of Lorenzo de' Medici, known as Lorenzo the Magnificent, and entered the Medici Academy. The Medici family wasn't just a political powerhouse. They were patrons of the arts, fostering a renaissance in Florence that would shape the future of Western culture. Lorenzo the Magnificent surrounded himself with artists, scholars, and philosophers, creating a vibrant intellectual hub. In this environment, Michelangelo flourished. He studied Greek and Roman sculptures, absorbed ideas from great minds like Marsilio Ficino and Pico della Mirandola, and developed a fascination with human anatomy, which became a cornerstone of his artistic style. To truly understand the human form, Michelangelo went beyond the surface. Though it was illegal and dangerous, Michelangelo conducted secret dissections of human cadavers. He believed that only by studying the human body from the inside out could he accurately represent it in his work. These dissections gave him a profound understanding of muscle structure, bone alignment, and how flesh moved over the body, allowing him to create sculptures that felt more alive than stone. This deep study of anatomy would later define some of his most famous works, including the colossal David. At the turn of the 16th century, Michelangelo was already a celebrated artist, but his true masterpiece was yet to come. In 1501, he was commissioned by the city of Florence to create a monumental statue representing the biblical hero David. A massive block of Carrara marble, abandoned by previous artists due to its imperfections, was entrusted to Michelangelo's hands. Two sculptors had already attempted to work with this massive block of marble, but both had abandoned the project, claiming the stone was too flawed. Michelangelo, however, saw potential in the marble. He famously said, "I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free." Over the next 2 years, Michelangelo worked tirelessly, crafting what would become one of the most iconic sculptures in history. Standing over 17 feet tall, David was not just a depiction of a biblical hero. It was a symbol of human potential and the Florentine Republic's resilience in the face of larger forces. David's pose, with his head turned slightly and his body in a state of tense readiness, captures a moment of calm before action, a reflection of Florence's precarious position during a time of political instability. Every muscle, every vein in David's body is sculpted with meticulous detail, showcasing Michelangelo's unmatched understanding of the human form. Michelangelo's fame as a sculptor was already established, but in 1508, he faced a new challenge, one that would test his skills in ways he had never imagined. Pope Julius II commissioned him to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in Vatican City. Michelangelo, reluctant at first, accepted the task, though he considered himself a sculptor, not a painter. Michelangelo initially resisted the commission, arguing that his talents were in sculpture. The task of painting such a vast ceiling seemed daunting, even to him. Pope Julius II, however, insisted. Some believe that rival artists, like Bramante and Raphael, may have pushed the Pope toward the idea, hoping Michelangelo would fail. Over 4 grueling years, Michelangelo painted frescoes that would redefine the art of the Renaissance. Lying on his back atop scaffolding, he covered over 5,000 square feet of ceiling with scenes from the Book of Genesis, including the iconic image of God creating Adam. The ceiling became a visual symphony of biblical stories, classical figures, and complex compositions that spoke to the divine and human experience. Michelangelo's mastery of perspective and human anatomy brought a depth and realism to the figures that was unprecedented in fresco painting. Among Michelangelo's many masterpieces, few are as poignant and powerful as the Pietà. Created when Michelangelo was just 24 years old, this sculpture depicts the Virgin Mary holding the lifeless body of Christ after his crucifixion. Despite his youth, Michelangelo's skill was already undeniable. After completing the Pieta, however, rumors began to circulate that it had been the work of another artist. In a rare moment of vanity, Michelangelo carved his name across the sash on Mary's chest, the only work he ever signed. The Pietà captures both grief and serenity. Mary's face is calm, her sorrow quiet yet profound. The detail in the folds of her robes, the lifeless body of Christ cradled in her arms. These elements reflect Michelangelo's ability to convey deep emotion through the cold, unyielding medium of marble. This sculpture remains one of the most beloved works of Renaissance art, a testament to Michelangelo's genius in capturing the human experience, from its suffering to its transcendence. As Michelangelo aged, his works became more reflective, more personal. In his later years, he was haunted by a sense of incompleteness. The Last Judgment, a massive fresco behind the altar of the Sistine Chapel, revealed Michelangelo's darker, more complex vision of humanity. The figures are more muscular, more tortured, reflecting his inner turmoil. Unlike the serene figures on the Sistine Chapel ceiling, the Last Judgment is filled with chaos and suffering. Michelangelo faced criticism for the inclusion of nude figures, which some considered inappropriate for a religious setting. In response, parts of the fresco were later covered with drapery by another artist. Despite the controversy, The Last Judgment remains one of Michelangelo's greatest achievements. The monumental work captures his evolving understanding of faith, mortality, and the human condition. As Michelangelo approached his 70s, many thought his artistic career was coming to an end. But Michelangelo, driven by ambition and his vision of perfection, accepted a new challenge, one that would cement his legacy not only as a sculptor and painter, but also as a great architect. In 1546, he was appointed as the chief architect of St. Peter's Basilica, the grandest church in Christendom and a symbol of the Catholic Church's power. The Dome of St. Peter's, the centerpiece of the Vatican, was unfinished when Michelangelo took over the project. Other architects had tried and failed to design something worthy of the basilica. But Michelangelo had a vision. He believed the dome should reflect the majesty of heaven itself. Although he was approaching his 80s, Michelangelo revolutionized the dome's design, blending elements of classical Roman architecture with Renaissance innovation. He simplified the original plans, focusing on grandeur and simplicity. The dome he designed would eventually become one of the most recognizable architectural achievements in the world. Michelangelo famously said, "I build for eternity." And indeed, the dome was an enduring symbol of the church's power and Michelangelo's genius. His vision of the dome is not just a feat of engineering. It is a testament to his ability to turn stone into a spiritual experience. To this day, pilgrims and visitors from all over the world gaze up at the Dome of St. Peter's and marvel at its inspiring design. Michelangelo's dome stands as a towering reminder of his architectural brilliance and his unwavering commitment to creating beauty that transcends mortality. Even in his final years, Michelangelo never stopped working. Though his body grew weaker, his mind remained sharp and his hands continued to carve stone with precision and passion. In his 80s, he began work on what would be his final sculpture, the Pieta Rondanini, a haunting, unfinished depiction of Mary cradling the body of Christ, a reimagining of the Pieta he had sculpted decades earlier. Unlike the serene Pieta of his youth, the Pieta Rondanini is raw, expressionistic, and deeply personal. Michelangelo worked on the sculpture until his final days, chipping away at the stone, leaving parts of the work incomplete. It is said that as he neared death, Michelangelo saw in this sculpture a reflection of his own struggles with mortality and his relationship with faith. The Rondanini Pieta is not just a sculpture. It is a statement about the human condition, about life's unfinished business, the fragility of existence, and the inevitability of death. It is said that in his last years, Michelangelo spent much time reflecting on death. He became increasingly spiritual, and his work began to mirror these contemplations. His later sculptures, like the Pieta Rondanini, reveal a man not seeking perfection, but searching for meaning, a shift from the confident master of his youth to an artist contemplating the mysteries of life and death. The Pieta Rondanini, left unfinished, stands as a final reminder that even geniuses like Michelangelo are mortal, but his pursuit of expression through art would leave a mark on history that will never fade. Michelangelo's influence on art and architecture extends far beyond the Renaissance. His works have shaped the development of Western art for centuries, inspiring generations of artists, from Baroque to modern. Beyond his sculptures and paintings, Michelangelo was also a gifted architect. His design for the dome of St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City remains one of the most iconic achievements in architectural history. Michelangelo continued working until his death in 1564, at the age of 88. Even in his final years, he remained dedicated to his art, sketching and sculpting until his hands could no longer hold the tools. Today, his work stands as a testament to the power of human creativity and the enduring pursuit of perfection. Michelangelo didn't just create art, he created immortality. His sculptures and paintings continue to speak to us, reminding us of our humanity, our potential, and our endless capacity for beauty. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and legacy of Michelangelo. Be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest artists and their enduring impact on our culture.